Hey guys, this is Jack. You're watching Jack at Your Focus. Today, I am so excited to welcome Jae Ma all the way from the States. This is the first time I invited a guest all the way on the other side of the world. Jae, thanks for coming onto my show to talk about the topic of gratitude. That's what we're talking about today. So yeah, how have you been, Jae?
I'm doing really great. Thank you so much. And thank you for having me as a guest here on your show here.
Absolutely. So can you give a little introduction to our guest today? Well, I know that we have at least like 4,000 people out there watching this. And so can you give a little bit of introduction about you and what you do?
Sure. So I am a professional teacher. I do teach at a community college full time. I've been doing that for a while. I teach beginning basic math courses at the local community college.
Mm-hmm.
I'm also a mom, and I started my entrepreneur journey last year. I was a very shy introvert all my life, and so being online was a big decision to be public, and that took a little bit of going out of my comfort zone. So as of right now, I am trying to also give back because of my experience of being online in the last year has helped me to I think attract a lot of different kind, very kind, genuine people out there, and we're working together to try to make a positive impact online.
Absolutely, and that's you can include me in that same kind of journey. I think we're all trying to make the world a better place and try to give back what we've learned. And as a fellow introvert, I'm proud to be part of your journey. I'm proud that you're part of my journey. Proud of everyone else's journey. Proud that we have so many friends that share this kind of journey. So yeah, this is bloody awesome. Cool. So today we're going to talk about this topic of gratitude. So why do we want to talk about gratitude? Because I feel like this is something that is so vital in not just our professional lives, but everything else we do. And I'm sure that Jae, I've seen what you've been promoting, what you've been doing on social media in terms of promoting gratitude and that sort of thing. So can you introduce to the audience, what do you think is so important about having gratitude in our lives?
So as human beings, I know we have our ups and downs, and so in moments, especially when we're down, having that gratitude in our heart and the practice of gratitude is what has personally helped me through a lot of rough times, and I've also seen it with those around me. And being that we also impact others around us, the more that we can practice that gratitude, the more that we can also help others when they're also struggling with their life, because it's a tool. It's something that we can practice and become better and better at. So it's one person impacting another. It's energies for me.
Absolutely. So do you have any examples of what you do in terms of practicing gratitude? Like, what do you do in your daily life when you are practicing gratitude? What does that mean to you?
So it starts from the very first moment that we wake up, the very first thought that comes to our mind. I believe that we are creatures of habit. And so the more that we do practice, the more it just becomes a part of us. Like, we don't even have to think about it. I
Mm,
wasn't always a very grateful person, but as far as being a mom, that's also have gone through a few things in my life. And so um, those are the tools that I started having to practice, because I also wanted to impact my own son's life and
mm,
to be a happy mom, to raise a happy child, to raise a grateful child. And so it does start the very first moment. So when I wake up, it's opening my eyes and turning on music that can just liven up the mood, to
mm,
just bring out the positive energies. That's
Mm.
been very helpful. And if it's a moment where I feel like a little more down, because it's normal, it's natural for humans, I would
Mm.
just wake up and do my stretches, and then
Mm.
find at least three things. It can be very, very simple. It can be, I'm awake. I was able to wake up. You
Mm.
know, I have something that I can wear today, and
Mm.
I am going to be eating today. You know, something that
Absolutely.
is very, very simple. That, you know, I have my hair. You know, it's just
Yeah.
something that like everyone can try to find something that we
Mm.
like. It's training our brain
Mm.
to process it in a different light.
Absolutely. Actually, I learned something new from you today. I never thought that being grateful could be that difficult. Like, I always thought of it as some sort of philosophical thing where you have to put your mind into some sort of, void, and you have to think about, okay, what am I grateful about today? Am I grateful about the fact that I'm alive, or like I have this, I have that, like, which is basically what you said, but like in a sense, it's like, if you were not grateful before, how can you become at a state where you're grateful now? I think that's the problem with a lot of people who don't have the ability to tap into that level of self-awareness, which
Yeah.
leads me to my next question. How do you know that you are grateful? That
Um,
is that like, what is the like red flag? Like, how, like in when we're studying science and chemistry, we test the pH, we put the litmus paper in, and then we know whether it's an acid or a base. But how do we do that for gratitude?
so I have a measure, like for every action that I take, it's not thinking about like the outcome. So it's just whenever we like go out, let's just say for a simple walk, like I am not thinking about I'm gonna be losing 10 pounds or whatever is going to be happening. I'm just taking that moment in that moment of time that I am just like grateful to be out, grateful that I can like see flowers, great, like
Mm.
taking that, like being self-aware, being cautious of like where we're at that particular moment in time. Like I'm grateful that there I can breathe air. I'm grateful that I can see these colors. I'm grateful that
Mm.
there's grass, and there's like it's not going to be dependent on like the future. It is just
Mm.
a matter of at this moment right
Mm.
now. So I think that's how I measure it. Um,
Mm.
yeah.
So based on what you're saying, are you saying like you are feeling a sense of, you're feeling a sense of being with absence of outcome? Is that
Yes.
what it is?
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
And
Okay.
it's our emotional state that we can train. So
Mm.
that is my measure of
Mm. Mm.
having gratitude. It's
Mm.
I think there's also I have had experiences myself and those around me where we're taking a walk and we're not in that present moment,
Mm.
and we're thinking our car, or like that we're not in the right place at the right time, or the setting's not right, or like there's so many
Okay.
things, like what we focus on expands, right? So if we're focused on the fact that we're in this place but it's not like beautiful enough, it's not big enough, and
Mm.
there's so many things that our mind can see, versus
Mm.
like, okay, we're in this moment, and no matter how it is around us,
Mm.
I'm grateful for this present moment, grateful that
Mm.
the person is with me, grateful that I'm here, grateful that there's air to breathe, grateful that I can
Mm.
find some waterfalls, grateful for whatever is present at that moment, right?
Mm. Okay, so let me summarize this in a very simple manner, because I actually absolutely understand what you mean. So when you say present, it means like, well, to me, it sounds like you are in this point in time. Let's dumb down everything, because like a lot of people, especially people who are working in business or doing really stressful jobs, they have so many things in mind, especially their finances, whether your kid's going to grow up okay, or whether he went to school, or whether he ate his lunch, or whether your father who's sick, whether he's still okay. There's so much stuff that's going on in your mind that there's hardly any freedom for you to really think about your current state. So I think another way to put it is that maybe for this next 5-10 minutes, like empty everything. I'm not saying to ignore all these problems. I'm saying that maybe you need to free your mind a bit to allow your mind to breathe before you can feel that gratitude. Because if you keep experiencing those negative thoughts in your mind, there is no way you can reach the realm of gratitude. Like, would you agree with that?
Exactly. Just take a moment, and that breath work can really change a lot. Like taking a moment and just being aware that we're breathing. And then working on the three things that we can find that we can be grateful for.
Yeah.
That can immediately shift our mind and our emotion and our body, physiology could just shift. And then yes.
In order to do that, you have to empty everything. You have to get rid of everything, which is quite hard, because like I feel for a lot of people, especially busy people, they have never ever thought about thinking about nothing. Like, can you like, I'm not sure how it is for you to train that sort of strategy, but for me, it was a huge struggle, because there's so much stuff in there that we have to deal with on a daily basis that's sometimes close to impossible to empty everything. But then it goes down to how about we think about breathing, because like we have to breathe. If we don't breathe, we die. So maybe just start from the breathing and empty everything except for so the only thing that we're talking about or thinking about is the breathing. Maybe start from there, and then we can start noticing other small things. So maybe like dumb down all the way to breathing, and then slowly stack the things that are actually necessary to you at that point in time. Maybe that's the answer. I'm not sure if I explain it in a way that is practical for people, because I know this is hard. And I'm sure that if even for yourself, it took you a while to get to that sort of state. Like, I guess it comes from trying different things. Like for you wake up in the morning, put on some music. For me, I wake up in the morning, I feel like I just woke up and I want to stay in bed for a little longer. So that means I still have a lot of work to do. But like, I think we're all at different stages, and I think it's really important to start somewhere rather than not start at all.
Yes.
If that makes any sense? Yeah.
It does, and it still takes daily work. So we again are creatures of habit, so we can tend to go back, right? And so at those moments when we really need it, like that's when we really have to push ourselves a little harder and be very conscious of that practice of let's just do it. It doesn't like some people might just do it in the morning. That's what I started to when I first started. It was like, okay, let's just do it in the morning or at night. But it can also be done throughout the day, like any moment in time. It just takes, like you're in your car sitting in traffic. Let's do our breathing. You're talking to a friend that might be like, high or strung or
exactly.
affect you. So you just like, okay, let's breathe, and you can help the other person do that.
Yeah, absolutely. At least take some time, because I think it also comes down to, do I deserve to be grateful? Because a lot of people, like they have this trouble, is that like, I live this really stressful life, but like, do I deserve better? Because I think that's the first question you should ask yourself. Like, I've lived through all these troubled times, and I've been through all these difficult things, but now it comes down to, I think, and this is a question that a lot of people don't ask themselves, is that like, do I deserve better?
And I
And,
think that's a really great question, like
mm,
to reflect on.
mm,
Thinking about, I think that could also go back to like our past, right?
mm,
And so coming from a place where we figure out we're self-aware of
mm,
where that began, then
mm,
we can maybe shift and
yeah,
we each are made to live a life of abundance, live a great life.
yeah,
And so through that,
absolutely.
um, when we make that decision, then
Mm,
we can move forward to figure out, like
mm,
in our mind, asking the right questions,
mm,
asking like the questions you just asked, and
mm,
try. Then we can make that shift, and then our mind can shift to figure out how we would get to where we want to
yeah,
be. Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
that's our the questions.
Absolutely. And I think it's really important for us to really break it down for people have it, who have a lot of difficulty in getting there. Because I feel like without the really initial work, because I think the beginning phase is actually the most difficult part, because a lot of people just don't know how to get out of it. And it's really hard, also really hard for us to explain, because it's like, okay, I wake up every morning and I practice these things, but like how do I keep doing that? Like, why is it worth me doing all these things? So that comes down to, okay, why am I worth living this lifetime for?
I
Right?
I I think once you experience it and
Mm,
you see that there's that, like, there's two choice, right? There's two paths you can go.
mm,
And so once you experience something that is so beautiful, that
mm,
feeling of peace and joy, that
mm,
like whatever happens, whatever it is, you have
mm,
something that's not going right in your business, or
mm,
like through this COVID process,
mm.
your kids, or your spouse, your
Yeah.
whoever, your students, there are people out there. I think for us too, I could be hard on myself also at times.
Mm,
And so being that we have experienced that before, we
mm,
know how it feels. And so we can make that shift. And it only takes, like you just mentioned, like breathing. It just only could take a few seconds of your
mm,
day, a few
mm,
moments, and we can automatically then just shift it back.
mm.
Um, so yeah, so it does just take that time, like just
Yeah.
to be calm and the peace and quiet
Mm,
time where
mm.
we decide consciously to make that decision, to make that shift, and then it can just change.
Absolutely. And in terms of breathe, I think we do that anyway every day. Like,
Yeah.
but a lot of people, but very few people are aware that we're breathing. And thus, like, when I was this might be a little bit unrelated, but like when I was learning how to sing, I realized that the reason why a lot of people can't sing really well is because they don't take entire breaths. They just take half of their capacity. So like, and a lot of people are not aware of that. So I think the breathing is something that should be reinforced, because naturally we don't take whole breaths. And I think it is important to take whole breaths for a variety of reasons, right? Because like ever since I started breathing whole breaths, it actually makes me feel more complete. Whereas like when I was noticing I was taking half breath, I was constantly um, running out of breath when I'm talking. And sometimes I forget to breathe at all when I'm talking, and it's like I'm trying to fumble with my words, and sort of makes me feel that I'm not so confident. I'm thinking that maybe like the amount of breath we take sort of also affects our confidence level as well.
I totally believe that. So I just learned this actually.
Mm-hmm.
I was in a different Facebook like group, and there was a challenge that had it was a group with like 70,000 people in there, and
Mm-hmm.
I go live in that group. And that was the first time I've ever gone live in such a big group. But in that group, what I've learned from a few people who shared their techniques,
Mm-hmm.
that I follow, because it's trying to also learn from people who are better than us, who are more successful in terms of whatever
Mm-hmm.
it is that we're
Yeah.
trying to learn. and that's how we grow. And one of the tips that they both shared was before we go on camera
Mm-hmm.
is take that moment to like turn on the music and dance and like work our energy and do the breath work. And I
Mm.
did use some of those techniques in some of my later day videos, like
Mm.
day or so. It was 7 day challenge.
Mm.
And I could actually see, if you can see, there was more engagement in the later posts also. Maybe there's more
Mm.
people, around,
Mm.
like
Yeah.
seeing our videos. But
Mm.
I also analyzing like the videos that I had done
Mm-hmm.
before and after the breathing, before I
Mm-hmm.
learned about those techniques and afterwards,
Mm-hmm.
uh, you can actually see the difference.
Mm. What is the name of this group, by the way, so I can share with our audience so that they can go and check it out? Like, is it a public group or is it something that only us masters can access? What is it?
It's the Start Over Challenge with Tony Robbins
Mm.
and Dean Graziosi. So
Okay.
I will actually be sharing some of the progress there. That was just recently. I'm
Mm.
doing a few different challenges for myself to grow also because
Mm.
um, I have a little backstory being like very shy and introverted and
Okay.
in elementary school, never really talking to anyone, and
Mm-hmm.
people who like try to be friends because they're friendly people. When
Mm-hmm.
they came up to me, I was so shy, I would not even look them in the eye. I wouldn't even
Mm.
like, I was just like the type who being that I came to California as an immigrant and like English is my third language. And so when I
Mm.
was during recess time, all I wanted to do was just sit there and read books because I was afraid to talk to anyone. And
Mm.
these are things that was part of my history, right? Part of who I am.
Mm.
That's who I want to help, people who are shy, who are introverted,
Mm.
who can use the internet, who can
Mm.
use the time to grow themselves online, to build more confidence, and
Mm.
to go out there and to share your stories to help impact others out there
Mm.
while you're growing yourself. And so yeah, so that these are little challenges that I just like really um, challenge myself to do. But
Mm.
also at the same time, it's this online journey has brought me together with a number of very, very supportive people from around the globe, like Jack. I would never have
Yes.
met him and this opportunity to be here. I would never have ever imagined this would happen like a year ago. I
Mm-hmm.
was recently in another podcast, but this is my second like podcast, public podcast.
Yeah.
I really would never have imagined this ever if I had not been online. And
Mm.
I do believe that it does also have to do with like our energies that we
Mm.
attract, like
Mm.
people who are more like grateful, more positive.
Absolutely.
That is
Um,
cool.
by the way, would you like to pinch yourself to see that whether you're still alive? To witness this moment?
I'm right.
Yeah,
I think I feel
you got it. Yeah, actually, you answered my my next question about what made you want to inspire others to be grateful. So you sort of told us about your backstory about being shy as a little girl. Like when you're at school, you were like reading books instead of talking to people who are seemingly uh, friendly towards you. Is there anything else that sort of made you want to take this journey, or was that
uh,
the main thing that really put you there?
um so for me to inspire others, I always kind of love like sharing just um like from the heart.
Yep.
And so like since I was young, I would babysit my cousins whenever they came in town. Like I just enjoy like being in that role, to be able to take care of others, to be able to impact them, make them happy. And then when I chose my career being a teacher, like that feeling, I had other little side jobs like before that, and it wasn't as like rewarding, it wasn't as joyful. So when I became a teacher and it's being able to impact like people's lives along the way. That's what kept me there. I've been a teacher for a few decades actually. And
Okay.
so I just that joy that comes from that, and then being online has just opened up my world to so many great, like, wonderful people around the world, and being finding our tribe, like finding people that we can grow with, finding people that we can support each other's journey on, and then empowering each other. I have a quote, like, empowering each other to empower each other, and
Mm.
that really, to me, is the core. Like, we can empower ourselves to empower each other, and then we empower more, right? Like, it's one impacting another, and that is my mission. That is,
Absolutely. Oh, you don't have to wish. You're already doing that right now. So that you're doing great. I think we're all doing great at the moment, and let's keep soldiering on for the next couple of years, or as long as we live. More like that. So back on topic. So my next question to you would be, you mentioned that for your journey, you're shy, you're an introvert, and you had trouble mixing with people at the very beginning. Apart from that, do you know why you think that some people would struggle with being grateful?
um, I believe it is, again, we are creatures of habit. So if that is something that we started, like, practicing, that we started not being grateful for something, maybe, or it could have been early on in childhood times, like if you
Mm-hmm.
didn't get your toy that you want,
Mm-hmm.
and then, you know, trained or conditioned to get certain things, and then all of a sudden you don't get it, and then you start feeling like, the how we react to things,
Mm-hmm.
and then it could be a pattern. And
Mm.
until we are aware of, ourselves, or being self-aware of what it is that we're feeling, that we're thinking, and then building in the new tools to have that gratitude, and then it becomes a part of us, to become natural, then just it could just be a habit that we had already acquired from
Yeah.
childhood. That's
Mm.
how I see that. Mhm.
Absolutely. And I'm sure that as an educator, as a teacher who have contact with a lot of kids who may or may not have that habit of practicing gratitude, I feel like it's also very important that we as the next generation, we make sure that our children have the opportunity to be aware of what they're feeling. Because, like, I'm not sure about yourself, but for me, I have had the habit of not even knowing what gratitude is.
Mhm.
It's like, uh, I think it's very prominent in a lot of Asian cultures and a lot of other more conservative cultures that uh, we don't have this individualism sort of mindset. For a lot of Asian cultures, it's more of a group mentality. So if, say for example, if I don't make my parents proud, then how can I be grateful? So we never, like, for me, I never even think about my gratefulness. It's more about, like, I can only be grateful if my dad or mum is like proud that I went to a good school, I got good grades, or I'm doing something that's great that they can be proud. I'm living the life that they expect me to live. That is what I I existed for. That's what I thought it was. But then, like, once I came into the West, I wouldn't know otherwise how what this gratefulness is if I didn't have this interaction with the Western world, that people can see themselves as individuals rather than like how we were taught in like an Asian society where we sort of think about ourselves as a collective. So I'm not sure what your view on that is, and what we can do as the next generation to educate our next generation on how to overcome this issue of this cultural sort of thing of between individualism and collectivism.
I think you brought up a very good point. And I do know, like, even like from being Asian, we are not taught as much of like saying like thank yous, right? Like just the simple like word of like saying thank you. Here, if we don't say thank you, it seems a little odd. Like, hey, that person didn't thank me. but but
Yeah.
it's more of an expectation, the roles that we play, right? Like as a parent or as a child, sometimes like being raised Asian, like we weren't even taught to say thank you. It's just like a known kind of
Mm.
implied kind of thing when
Mm.
you do something. But here, when you start school here, it's just
Yeah.
like, say your thank you.
Yeah.
Please and thank you. Everything, please and thank you. But
Yeah.
really, it has to come from the heart. It's just not what we were saying.
Yeah.
It is
Yeah.
really not just like just it's not just the words, but really feeling it emotionally inside when we do say those thank yous. And it is like feeling first. That's what I think gratitude is. It is like being appreciative, but very, very thankful at the same time.
Which is very hard for us Asian people, because like when we think about gratitude, things thank you, saying please and thank you, and getting in touch with our emotions, that's not what Chinese people do. It's not that Chinese people are bad people, it's just that they don't have the culture of like, I'm saying please and thank you for myself. We're saying please and thank you as a collective, and because as a collective we are sort of ourselves, so we don't really have to say please and thank you to ourselves.
Yeah.
I think that sort of nails the coffin. So to all those viewers who think like maybe Asians are bad people, or like they're not kind, or whatever it is, that is the explanation. Is because we aren't designed, or we not grow up in a situation where we practice individualism. We're in an environment where we think about everybody, not just ourselves. So now when it comes to our current situation, all the protests and COVID-19 and stuff like that, it's like it's a whole lot of misunderstanding of like between individualism and collectivism. And I think that's a very important step to take in sort of understanding where everyone is at in terms of how grateful they are. So it's more like respecting each other's model of how they see the world, in terms of like whether they want to be grateful for being an Asian and having this culture of like seeing each other as one, or you also have to respect other people who sort of like embrace the fact that I need to take care of my own gratitude towards the things that I have, as well as everyone else. Because like if I don't take care of my own needs, then no one else is going to. So it's like it's a whole lot of complex things, which I hope that we can sort of break down and make people realize that we have so many different ways to practice gratitude, and we need to be conscious about all these different ways of being grateful.
Yeah, that's a really good point.
Yeah, absolutely. And finally, so second last question. What advice do you have for people who want to change and live with gratitude? Like, I think that goes back to the very beginning, really. So apart from, because like I feel like we can't, like for me, if I was in a state where I never learned how to practice gratitude, I can't just plan to wake up next morning and just hope that everything will change right away. It has to start from some simple steps or some sort of shift in our mindset to be able to accomplish something like that.
So what has really helped me are some of the actually free stuff online. Like
Okay.
Dr. Joe Dispenza is someone that I started listening to last year, and he
Mm,
has a lot of material out there on that too.
mm,
Um, like just kind of like it's like positive brainwashing.
okay.
So putting that in our brain, it becomes it's subconscious, right? And
Mm,
that's
mm,
the very first thing that I found that was really helpful for
mm,
me.
mm,
Breathing, trying to be physically like fit, like just
mm,
exercising, the body work, the mind work,
mm,
and gratitude journals. If you're
mm,
into that,
mm,
if you're not, just try it out for a few days. Try it for 21 days and
mm,
take a moment. I did that with my students, like having them do a 21-day journal, and
mm,
the results from that, some of them have their ebooks, and
mm,
it was very eye-opening to actually read that also from students and what they how they progressed through COVID and their gratitude. There's one book specifically, actually a group did on gratitude, and and just doing that daily work,
mhm,
the breathing. It's all a package: body, the mind, the spirit, right, the soul.
mm,
And so it does take effort. So if we want to have any results, it does take daily work, and it does
mm,
take effort to do that. But
mm,
at the same time, I have to say, find an accountability partner. If you don't have a big tribe yet, just at least
absolutely.
find one person that you can model, that you find that, like, hey, this person is like seems pretty balanced.
Mm,
We can't say they're
mm.
perfect, but
At
you can.
least he's better than me. At least that person is better than myself. It can't be like the guy that just sits in front of the TV for like 6 days in a row and like just eats donuts there all the time. That's not going to be a very good accountability
Yes, and
person.
so once you find that person that you can really respect and model, like you can model, and I think energy just will roll off. Like you
Mm,
impact each other's, affect each other's energies. And so
mm,
when you find someone that you can chat with, that you can contact on a daily basis, where you're feeling like, okay, I just need a little a little
mm,
encouragement. I
mm,
have done that with some friends where, like, okay, here, listen to this, and here's a
yeah.
quote. Be very
Mm,
simple. It doesn't have to take that much time
mm,
um, to get each other right through this like little tiny catch during
mm.
time.
Yeah.
So
At least do something, not nothing. And also, I would say like to add on top of that, I would say like please have a plan. Because if there's no plan, then you're not we're not going anywhere. I,
yes,
I feel like because like I think the number one obstacle for anything that we do or what we can't do is a lack of a plan. So it means being very specific on what we're trying to accomplish with this gratitude thing. Like
mm-hmm.
I'm not sure for you, like when you first started, what was the goal?
Yeah. Um, to the goal when I first started was actually to just like be out of my comfort zone, to grow myself so that I can like have more positive impact with those around me. Like
Mm,
as a teacher,
mm,
if I just become stagnant and I
mm,
don't like learn to be,
mm,
learn
mm,
more things out there, then I
mm,
only have so much. My potential to
mm,
impact others is
mm,
still going to be
mm.
limited. And so it's a self-development process. It's
Mm.
daily. But I had no idea that I was going to get to this point where I'm doing an interview.
Yeah, because I feel like you want to be better. You want something better than like staying the way that you were that time. Because like I feel like deep down you knew that what you had at that point wasn't what you wanted to do for the rest of your life, right?
There's just something I do kind of like feel inside, like uh, kind of follow my heart in a lot
Mm,
of different ways.
mm,
And
mm,
so there was something in my heart that was
mm,
telling me
mm,
I need to figure something out.
mm,
There, my view was more
mm,
limited. So in order to get out of that box, I
mm.
had to do something different. I had to do something that I was really scared of doing.
There it is. That's the answer. I got it out. So do something different than what you were doing before.
Yeah.
That's the thing. For
Yeah.
me, it was also doing something different, but like it's more specific. So for me, like I wanted to be more grateful, but I had to ask myself, okay, what does being more grateful mean? Does it mean like I I enjoy I enjoy the times I spend with myself more? Because that's me, right? That was for me, and I felt like at that point in time, I wasn't really enjoying myself. I was always thinking about all the negative things. So what did I do? Well, rather than trying to do overload myself with all this self-help and self-development stuff, I make it so simple. I take one day of the week and I just go and see a movie that I like, that I
Oh.
enjoy, without feeling bad about it.
Mhm.
That it can be as simple as that, because I needed that time to
Yeah.
myself in order to make myself feel important.
Right. And I think what you just touched on is the time with yourself.
Yeah,
So it
absolutely.
doesn't depend on anyone else. There's no external things that like will make us happy. It's within ourselves. It's
Mm,
down inside. It starts from within.
mm,
So that love that you feel from within for
mm.
yourself, self-love, so that you can then give more to others. Mm.
Absolutely. So for those people out there who are having a really hard time understanding what gratefulness is, the first thing you need to do is take one day of the, even take half an hour of the week and think about, ask yourself, wow, what do you want to do? What do I want to do with myself? And and then you're going to do it at that specific time and not take any chance to think that you're bad for taking that time for yourself.
I really love that idea because I had a friend who was my guest speaker in
Mm-hmm.
my course, and he spoke about activity management. And the tip that he shared with my students, they had reflected on that also, was sometimes like doing a to-do list could be great. You know, I'm used to checking off tasks,
Mm-hmm.
but we really, really, really want to intentionally like do something, and it's that important. We can set it as a date, right? Like it's a date with ourselves.
Mm.
It's a time that we put in our calendar. This is like the time that we're going to be grateful. This is the time that we can actually focus on that if that's something that we really want to work on.
Yeah. So
Going,
like, let's rename it as a celebration that we are still alive. Let's call it that sort of day. So
yeah,
like
celebrate.
celebrate myself,
Yeah.
because I haven't done that for a very long time. For most, if not all of my life, I have never celebrated myself. So why not start now? That's what I would say to those
Love
people.
that. Yes, I love that. Celebrate ourselves.
Yeah,
Yes.
absolutely. So now we're nearing the end of this interview. So I wanted to ask you, what are you doing at the moment in terms of like, what are you promoting? What sort of programs you're doing? What are you doing to make our people's lives that much better and fill them with gratitude?
So for me to be able to continue to be happy,
Mm-hmm.
I feel like progress and impact is a big thing. And I have started an introverts group. It's called Introverts Glow, Grow, and Thrive Online,
Mm-hmm.
without having to pretend to be someone we're not.
Mm-hmm.
And so in that group, I had some free challenges,
Mm-hmm.
having people do their very first Facebook Lives, people who were very shy and introverted, who
Mm-hmm.
didn't feel maybe comfortable, confident enough, but
Mm-hmm.
being in a supportive group.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I was shocked. I was surprised that they did.
Mm-hmm.
through their first Facebook lives in the group. Also, the second challenge was doing a dance. Like it
Wow.
was
Okay.
inspired by Dr. Joe's Dispensas, like the
Mm-hmm.
spreading love,
Mm-hmm.
the spreading love through this time of COVID.
Mm-hmm.
And so that challenge was to have a dance. Like the other reason why I did that was because it's something I'm very afraid to do, like to dance. There's also a backstory to that. I never would have
Good.
danced like ever.
Good. Challenge accepted. Like Jay is already doing all these things that she's not comfortable with, and she's kicking ass. So I love that.
And so it was a great positive like challenge where there was a lot of, like waking up and there's my like notifications. This person went live to do their dance and that person did, and so it's just a very positive kind of vibe in the group and sharing with each other. The idea is to help each other to grow online, to thrive online. So whatever it is that someone has to share, whatever knowledge, it could be their own challenges, it could be their products, their services, like they need help with doing like a video for Facebook or like editing. It can be tools, it can be like mindset. It's anything that we can do to help each other as a community to grow. So I just love it. I just love being able to work with others and to just grow together.
Absolutely. And so we're we're almost to the end. So thanks very much for being on my show, Jack Up Your Focus. And if anyone has any questions to ask you, how would they find out more information about Jae Ma?
So I am on Facebook as Jae Ma Official and also on Instagram as that. I also have the Introverts Glow, Grow, and Thrive online Facebook group. So on Facebook, you can type in Introverts Glow, Grow, and Thrive. And
or you can look at the description below and you can see those details there. I'll get Jae Ma to provide me with that information, and you can click the link below and you can go over there and just share all the love that you can offer.
Yes, let's continue to share love and just continue to be grateful, have a attitude of gratitude. And it is one, each one reach one. So we can continue to imagine, we just reach one more person out there. That person reaches another person out there. Imagine how it would be like a month from now, or a year from now, or 5 years, or 10 years from now. The people that we end up being around and surrounding ourselves with.
Yeah. We're leaving behind a legacy. And if anyone has any comments or any additional information that you want to share with us, please leave a comment below down in the chat box, and I'll get back to you as ASAP. And yeah, this awesome. It's thanks for being on the show once again, and thanks guys for watching, and stay tuned for even more episodes. Bye guys.
Thank you everyone. Bye.